Howdy, y'all. I wanted to go ahead and run a demo for y'all today, so I'm here in my stream setup to do some screen capturing. I do a screen capture type stream on my channel, anyways, where I talk about working in Premiere. And since it's a setup that's ready to go, I'd go ahead and use it. I thought I'd go ahead and showcase this here sequence at the starting because it does have some effects layered into it, like the stream starting soon screen itself is a black and white image with some transparencies added to it. The hot dog going back and forth is a chroma key piece, just fun and silly. And even the background video that's playing has some layered effects going on to it. It's got a camera blur and then a mask, so you can see the bottom of it is not blurred out, but all our faces are blurred out to protect identities, I suppose. And then on top of that, I've got some layered VHS effects as well. So that just kind of showcases the use of it. And without further ado, let's hop on into the stream setup proper. So a little preface as to what's going on here. I have just spent some time putting together a sequence for my channel, and I wanted to go through all the stuff that went into it. So I've set up a new project, a new sequence, and we're going to go ahead and go over what went into this project. So for here, let me start by mentioning that all of this is 4K footage. So in my sequence settings, you can see here that my frame size is set 1920 by 1080 because I do everything in 1080p. There's no need to go really much higher. And as far as like for my content, the miniature painting stuff works way better when you record in 4K because you can zoom in on it and kind of pick and choose where you're at. So to preface it, you'll note that there's no sound on any of this because I generally listen to copyrighted music while I'm doing the projects, while I'm painting on the stuff, so I don't use any of it. And to address that, when I import audio, wait on that motorcycle to go by. When I import audio, you can see that I've got the video and the audio track together, and I don't want any of that audio. So what I'll do is I'll go over here to my linked selection tab or button, and I'll turn that off. And what that'll do is let me select just the audio and delete it. Get me down to just the video track here. So digressing, what I have here is 12 clips of working on the model. They're all like 10 minutes long. So I've gone ahead and cherry picked through that footage, and I've got basically what I want to do is run this intro of showing my wet palette, showing getting it ready, hydrating the sponge inside, and putting down the parchment paper so I can start painting. I'm going to add some effects to that to go in line with some music that I want to add, and we'll go over how that gets created. And then I've gone ahead and curated a selection of 2-second intervals of painting this model up. So it's all this footage, 2 hours worth, cut down to just a few seconds. All right, so let's hop into it. First thing I want to do is I've got this music track that I want to use, which is from Epidemic Sound. I pay for a license through them, so I can use it freely in my work without it being copyright claimed. And if I recall correctly, I needed to move this forward a few frames. And I'm going to go ahead and mute this track for now so we don't get too distracted by it. But I'm going to go ahead and set this forward 4 frames, which lines up with the work I was doing earlier. That is something you could find out in your own time, but I'm going to go ahead and skip that step to save a little time. All right, so first off, I've got this sequence here of opening the wet palette box, taking the lid off. I love keeping in these little fumbles. I think it adds a bit of organic, personal relatability to the art. And then I hydrate the foam. It runs for a bit, and I take the lid off. But one thing I notice here is it's a little too long. It's a little too self-indulgent. So let's go ahead and click on it, and I'm going to go up to clip and speed duration. And I can see that it's running 45 seconds and 19 frames. So really what I want to do is limit that to 30 seconds and ensure that it's not running over. I want to keep viewers' attention. I want to keep it poignant and on point. So I'm going to play with the numbers here until it's right. So we'll start with 125%. That leaves us at 36 seconds and 15 frames. Not enough. Let's boost it to 150. Now that's 30 seconds and 12 frames. I like a nice round number. So let's go ahead and try to get that to 30 seconds exactly. And there we go. 152% puts me at a 30-second clip. Pow. Right there. Ka-chow. Got it. All right. And what that's going to do is kind of line it up with my music, which I just realized is going to be insanely loud. So we're going to go into the music track here, effects, and I'm going to go ahead and turn off the animation, turn off the keyframes for the volume, and let's drop it 20 decibels. I'm going to go and mute it again. I guess that's wrong. So when I turn that back on, let's see, can I get rid of my TV in the corner? There we go. We can see that my readout here is sitting between -18 and -24 decibels. That's about where I want it for content. So that's good. It checks out. And now we've got this nice clean, we've got the audio level set up, we've got this sped up intro, and I want to do some stuff with the effects here. So I want to do something to spice up the whole pouring water onto the frame there, onto the wet palette. I want to do something neat with that. And then I also want to add a neat effect right there when the moisture hits the parchment paper. So for that, I think what I want to do is rotate the whole thing. Zoom in and rotate from the start. So let's find the frame where, so there's the frame where the container is. We're going to pop the thing off. I'll just start it at the, kind of thinking out loud here. So we're going to get this frame right here where the thing is set down, and we're going to go up to our effects controls. We're going to turn on position, scale, and rotation, just in case I want to mess with any of those things. And then I think what I want to do is have it zoom in and rotate through the whole thing up until the very end, like right there. Okay, so let's do a position, a scale, and a rotate. And let's say I want to go in to 75% zoom. I want to make sure that this is still center of the frame, and then I want it to kind of look a little off kilter, so let's give it a 10% rotation. Maybe 15. I think 10 might be where it's at. 15's fine. Okay. So just putting those simple keyframes down, we're going to get this effect that runs through the whole thing. It's kind of zooming in. We've got this music track playing. We're building some tension. We're going to get into doing some stuff here. Okay. So I think the next effect I want to add in, I made this paint in time image, and I want to stick that right at the end here. All right, so as you can see immediately, this thing is way too big, just utterly ginormous. So let's go into effects controls, ensure that, so you can see right away that I clicked effects controls, and then this clip is selected. I don't want that. Let's go to the paint and time image. And let's shrink it down. Let's call it 25%. Yeah. Okay. That might be a little big for what I'm going for. But, you know, I think it works. I think it works. Next, we want to ensure that its rotation is matching the background. So what I'm going to do is click the go to next keyframe, and then we're going to go ahead and click back on this, and then I'm going to drop in a rotation keyframe and a scale keyframe. Because my background image is zooming and turning, I want this to zoom and turn a little bit as well. Okay, the next effect that kind of hit me that I want to do is I have this hydration that's happening right there. You see when the parchment touches the wet sponge, and this thing gets going. Okay, I guess I'm getting a little ahead of myself. Let's go ahead and drop back in the other half of this scale and rotate. I want to match kind of the rotation at the end. So let's find this keyframe where that stops. Let's rotate this to make it look all right. There we go. Looks good. It's rotating a little fast, and I think it's because the angle is aiming up. All right. Let's reduce this rotation. I selected the wrong one again. Let's reduce this rotation. Let's call it 10% maybe. It's still rotating a little too fast, so let's call it 5%. Even that is a little fast. And this is just a matter of personal choice, right, when you're doing this. So let's half that. All right, now I've got a nice subtle move. That looks good. It looks like it works. All right, so back on the next effect that I was talking about. What I want to happen is this parchment to have this paint and time thing appear as it comes down. So to do that, what we're going to do is animate a mask. Let's start right here, right before that wet touches the image. I'm going to do effects, and I'm going to do a crop. So I search for crop. I'm going to drag it down. I'm going to drop it right there. We're going to go to effect controls. And then the way to do this that I find works best, we're going to start with we're going to free draw the Bezier. I'm not sure how to pronounce that, but this is the tool we want to use. And I'm going to go ahead and let's zoom in on this so I can see what I'm doing. And we're going to draw on a mask. We're going to make it a pretty complicated shape here. I think. I want lots of polygon, lots of vertices for this polygon so I can animate it freely. So let's do that. Let's click it and bring it around. Now we have this mask shape. And what we're going to want to do is click down this here toggle animation to put in a keyframe. All right. It looks like some of the animation or some of the moisture is already on this. So I'm going to go back one frame, and this can be lengthy. You can automatically animate this, but in this case, I want to kind of animate it frame by frame because it's going to happen fast. Probably only have to do 6 or 7 keyframes of this to get the effect I'm going for. Okay, so first frame right here. I think we'll double click mask so we can see the mask here. Currently it is not going to show any of the paint and time. That's fine. Looks good. We're going to jump forward to the next keyframe, and I can see that the moisture is touching right here. So on this next frame, we're going to drag the edges. We're going to drag the edges of these here. I wish it would let me grab the thing instead of adjusting that. Okay. We're going to drag these. I know there's a way to not adjust the curve. I just don't know the shortcut. Okay. Digressing. We now have a frame where this is starting to reveal our paint time. We're going to go forward one frame again by clicking down here and clicking the frames. So next frame, we want to drop down another keyframe. Click back on mask. Start moving these things around. Now, it's important to note that you don't have to destroy yourself animating all this, all the little bits of motion. It's just what's important can move. So like all the top of this polygon can stay the same. So let's click back into our space. We're going to advance the keyframe one more, or advance the timeline one more. That looks like the moisture doesn't reveal any new detail, so we can go ahead and skip this frame and go to the next one, ensuring that we're moving forward. Okay, so it looks like this bit is going to go into it. Just a whole bunch of rinse and repeat here. We're going to drop down a keyframe, go back to the mask, go back to the mask, and drag these little bits to where we start revealing some information. Preparing these bits for moving. There we go. Excellent. Moving forward. One more frame. More details revealed. We're going to drop in a keyframe. Click back on mask so we can see it. Just a whole bunch of rinse and repeat at this point. And I know it seems tedious, and it kind of is, but in the end it can create a really nice effect. And this one will absolutely create the effect that I'm going for. And it doesn't take too long to show the whole thing. Now it looks like what's going on here is the moisture's moving underneath the paint in time to where I can't really see what I'm doing. So what we're going to do is adjust the crop to where we can see what's going on here. So let's do 100%. Wipe it out. This is removing the wrong part. So what we want to do is invert it, and that'll give us a better idea what's going on here. Yeah, and looking at my keyframes, I have missed some of the moisture. So let's go ahead and drag to match that. We'll do this. I guess this will help show what's going on in real time. There we go. Next keyframe. I can see that there's more detail that got missed. I don't recall how to click on these individual locations without grabbing that, changing the angle of it. It's frustrating, quite frankly, but you know, I'm dealing with it. Okay, so we're animating this thing up, making sure that this reveals along with the moisture as it goes. Okay, there we go. Back into it. We're going to click a frame forward, drop a keyframe. You can see that this is happening pretty quick. Although I'm taking a lot of time and talking about this to adjust the path here, all of a sudden this is spilling over and filling up this area really fast. So just continuing, doing the tedium. We're going to animate up this here crop mask. Now a mask can be applied to all kinds of effects. It's not just strictly limited to what I'm doing with the crop here. It's just in this case it's the application that I'm going for. So continuing along with the work, I'm just rotating all these vertices so we get a nice smooth animation. And of course this is all going to happen really fast, so even though it's a little janky here, it's going to look fine. Go back to timeline, go forward a frame, drop a keyframe, double click the mask. We're going to move that mask with the moisture. Moving it on along. Moving it on along. Here we go. I think we might even need some new vertices in here, so I'm going to hold Control and I'm going to click right here. I'm assuming that's Command on Mac. I'm not familiar with Mac at all. I've been a Windows guy my whole life, so please excuse me there if I don't know the input. I'm assuming it's Command click. So we'll do Control click, add in the thing, drag it down, continuing on around. It's a whole bunch of rinse and repeat. Yes, this is tedious. Yes, it's a little boring, but we're making it work. Oops, I just scrolled the mouse wheel. Okay. I'm so used to scrolling mouse wheel to move the viewport around. Anyhow, we're moving this mask, trying to move it without adjusting the curve. All right, there we go. That's another frame. Clicking forward, drop a keyframe. Doing my best to make this go quickly, but as you can see, it's tedious work. This here is, I think this little bit right here is inconsequential, so I'm going to hold Alt. Is it Alt? I thought it was Alt. It is not Alt. Anyhow, let's just move these out of the way then. There's a way to remove the Jesus. There's a way to remove the vertices, but I can't remember it offhand. So instead I've just opted to move all of these things out of the way, and we won't have to worry about them now. Okay. So with that, we have all these vertices. We can start moving and revealing stuff and match with this edge of the moisture. Continuing on along. We're almost fully revealed now. So I'm pretty sure this will be done in like the next 2 frames. Just continuing. These little rays that come off change the curve. I'm not sure how to, I'm not 100% sure how to select those, to select the point and not the rotation. It just I know there's a mouse command for it, but I'm not sure what it is offhand. These are things that could be looked up for what it's worth, and to me it's not worth the effort right now, so I'm just gonna deal with it and then double click, as is, you know, the way of good enough. Okay, we're gonna click forward one more frame, drop down the keyframe, double click back on mask, and now my moisture level should have revealed the entire paint and time. And I believe it will stay revealed if we do one more frame, which we're going to do. Click back down here, go forward 1 frame, drop our final keyframe, double click on the mask, and zoom that out a bit. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to move the edge of this mask way out. And I know this is taking forever, but it's showing in real time the effort that's involved with this, how simple it is, but yet how tedious it is at the same time. What we're going to do now is move this mask, this nice complicated shape, far enough away from the paint and time that even with the rotation, we're not gonna lose any more of it. I didn't mean to move that. There we go. All right, let's set this back to 100%. I mean fit, excuse me. And then let's deselect that and go back to our bit here. So I'm using up and down to go to the end of frames, and I want to go to the end of this here paint time. So let's go ahead and turn on this track targeting right here where it says V2. I'm going to turn that on, and now I should be able to up and down from the start to the end. Okay, here we are, going to hit play and watch what this looks like. As that moisture hits, whoa, we have this nice pretty paint and time thing come on. A lot of effort for a little effect, but we got the effect nonetheless. All right, now from here, I wanted to add another bit of pizzazz to this here clip. I'm thinking some chromatic aberration with the color channels. So that's kind of one of my go-tos. And I think what I want to do to achieve that is start this thing a moving once the lid is opened up. So let's go back in here. I'm going to drop a position, scale, and rotation keyframes on this. And then it'll make sense in a moment why I'm adding these. So I guess conceptually I want there to be two color channels that kind of twist and then come back to normal when the water gets poured on it. So we're gonna, from this keyframe, it's all gonna twist. I guess this underscores like a little bit of thinking ahead that needs to occur. We're gonna put another keyframe right here. So that's gonna be like the height of the distortion. And then what I want it to do is come back to normal really fast when the water hits it. So right there, that's plenty enough space. We're gonna 1, 2, 3, same deal, more keyframes. And then the water goes away. And what I want it to do from here is, because this clip has another little splash, you'll see right about here, I splash a little more. So I want to add in some more distortion. And actually, we're going to start that right here. Let's go ahead and drop in these keyframes, and we'll remove these older ones. Okay, so from here, it's going to start getting aberration again. It's going to be more subtle than the last. So we'll drop some more keyframes, and then real quick, it wants to go back to normal again. So we'll do about right there. Pow, should be back to normal. All right. And then also at the very end, what I want to create is another little bit of chromatic aberration right there, right after the paint and time comes up. So let's do pow, pow, pow. 3 more keyframes. Now, the reason I've put all these keyframes in is I've thought ahead where I want these effects to happen, and what I'm going to do is create 2 more copies of this clip. And the reason those keyframes will help is because I can take this clip and I can copy it, and then I can paste it in again. So we're going to go edit, paste. Wow, got 2 copies. And you can see the playhead move to the end. And then we're going to do it again. We're going to go edit, paste. Now we've got this thing 3 times. And you can see it's got the same keyframes that we set up before, which is perfect. Makes this next step real easy. Let's go ahead and take our painting time and drag it up to 2 channels or 2 tracks. Works perfectly. I'm going to hold Alt and scroll the mouse wheel to zoom out. We're going to grab this next clip, put it there, and the 3rd clip, slap them all together. Now, what we're going to do is create the chromatic aberration, which is the same technique I used to do the VHS effect. So to achieve that, what we're going to do is go into the effects and search for RGB. And we're going to get this color balance RGB. Let's drop it down onto the 3 channels. 1, 2, and 3. Okay, we're going to go into effects controls, and on the each of these is going to get a channel. We need to have the exclusion blend mode set for all 3 of these. So let's go ahead and click through that. And it's just gonna exclude those channels, those colors from the ones underneath it. So top scene is 100 red, is 0 green, and 0 blue. Second one is 0 red, 100 green, and 0 blue. And then third channel will same deal. 0 red, 0 green, 100 blue. And together those channels make one contiguous image, one proper image. All right, so what we want to do now is set these off a little bit. And it's going to create like multiple shadow images that look a little off. So we have these keyframes set up. It's still the first and last keyframes are how we left it. So if we don't mess with those, the whole thing is going to look normal as it was. And in fact, this blue channel at the bottom is going to retain the keyframes as we set them. So let's mess with the red channel first. We're going to go forward to the point at which we want things to rotate. So it's going to start going into aberration right here. We're going to click to the next frame, and then what we want to do is take whatever our position here is, and we're going to go up to 20 frames or 20 pixels. So I'm going to double click. I'm going to make sure I have it selected. I'm going to go use the arrow keys and go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20. It's now moved up. We're going to do the same thing to the left. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20. All right, and you can see immediately we have this like crazy aberration happening. I also want to rotate it. Let's go positive 10 degrees. So we're going to set that rotation to 15. That's actually, it's a little much. Let's just do 5 degrees. We'll do 10. There we go. Okay. So next channel, we want to do the same thing, but kind of in the other direction. So let's take our green channel, double click on it, make sure we have it selected for position. Position. Click back over here and do the same thing, but the other direction. So and I just realized that 20 is probably a little too much on the other one. So I'm going to go back to it and adjust that down. Go back 10 each. Okay. All right. So the blue channel, we've gone down 10 and we're going to go to the right 10. And then the totality between the two will be 20 pixels of divergence. All right, and same deal. I just realized I had the wrong channel selected. So make sure you have the right thing selected. If you don't want it to get selected, you can lock it right here. So we're going to lock that channel so I don't make that same mistake again. Anyhow, we're back on the green channel proper now. In the right spot, we're going to select its position and we're going to go down 10 frames or 10 pixels. All right. And again, make sure you have the stuff selected that you're trying to work with or you'll screw yourself up like I just did. Again. So we have this track selected. We have position selected. We're going to click on the program panel. Double click to make sure. Now I'm going to go down 10 pixels. And to the right 10 pixels. There we go. And we're going to rotate it in the negative direction. And if I recall, we went 5 degrees of rotation. So we'll set this to 0. All right. And now that should, we now have the rotation changed, we now have the position changed, and the keyframes as we had them should very quickly put it back to normal now. So this is where putting those keyframes in to set up the effect are really important. And that's what we'll do. Now we're going to repeat that same process. I don't know why I can't words. And it goes the same type of deal. We're going to start from this keyframe to the next, and I want to do the same thing, just a little more subtle. So go to Effects Controls, make sure you have the right clip selected. We're going to go to Position, and this time we're going to move the red channel up and to the left 5. And I'm using the arrow keys to do that 1 pixel at a time. You can definitely grab it with your mouse and rotate it. That's fine. And we're going to rotate this 2.5 degrees in the positive instead of 5. So that's 9.3 plus 2.5 is going to give us 11.8 degrees. There we go. We'll do the same with the green channel. We're going to click on the clip. We're going to click on Position. And we're going to double click here. And we're going to go down and to the right 5. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Yeah, easy mode. We'll go rotation. We want to adjust this 2.5 degrees in the negative direction. So minus 0.5 will put us at 8.8. And then 2 more off of that will give us 6.8 degrees. And now all these effects combined, we can go here to the start and hit play and give it a little watch and see what it looks like. So I'm opening up the container. It starts to get some aberration. I pour water on it, which fixes it. Looking at it for a second, it screws up again a little bit. Fix it again. Perfect. Watch it hydrate. I'm going to bring out the parchment paper, and then it's nice and lined up with the music. Perfect stuff. Okay, so from here, I know we've been going for a minute. Let me take a moment to say, if time is a factor in the class, If time is a factor in the class at the moment, we can definitely call it. So I put up this convenient be right back, but I've got some other effects that I'd love to show. So I'm going to go ahead and charge forward, but this is absolutely an excellent stopping point. So let's transition back into the frame. So this will be part 2 of it. We can either pause it, we can end it, we can keep going forward. I'm game for it because to put this whole thing together, now I want to talk about sequences and how they can be used to create the effect. So as I mentioned earlier, I've cherry-picked these 2-second interval clips. This is showcasing 2 hours worth of work in a really rapid-fire fashion. And this first section of clips is fine as it is. We're going to click it in there. But for that, I've got this like music effect happening. I don't want to click that. So as we're watching this, you can see on the waveform here where the music's making a thing and then it dips down and then it pops back in. I have an effect that I want to work with that's going to line up right with this. Let me zoom all the way in. You can see my waveform here. I have this hit that happens right here. I guess that frame is where I want to do it. So I have an explosion effect, a cartoon explosion effect that I want to include. So what we're going to do is go into the project effects demo, and I'm going to drop in this bomb alpha track. We're going to get rid of the audio because I don't need it. I'm going to put it in the open so you can kind of see what it looks like. So let's mute that. Mute that. Pop. Right? I just want that little bit of it. So I can even razor this off. Pow. And now I've got this nice little effect that's going to look really good and accentuate the music. So, what we want to do is track it and figure out which frame lines up with that hit where we want it. Okay. The hit is right here, I guess, is the best frame. And it looks like just by chance I put it in the right spot, which is perfect. Okay. Nice fun effect. What we're going to do is add in a I think a color key is best. The Ultra key doesn't like working with a black background sometimes. So let's search for color or key. You can find either one, and we're going to drop a color key on it. Pow. There we go. And then back to effects controls. We're going to grab key color black. Now you can see there's still some gnarly black outlines. Let's go ahead and feather that edge a bit. So let's call it, I don't know, 5. Not enough. Let's do it 10. Still not enough. Let's do it 15. Okay, that looks passable. It's only going to be on there for a moment. We can also thin out the edge some, so let's try thinning it by 5. Too much. We're going to thin it by 1. Not enough. We'll do 2. That looks great. There we go. Pow. I guess. All right, it's not running great, so I'll go ahead and show you how to make that look better in your preview. So, ensuring that track targeting is on for track 2, we're going to press up and go to the start of the frame. We're going to come over here and drop an in, and then we're going to jump to the end of that and drop an out. And then I can go to sequence, and I can tell it to render in to out. And there it goes. And you see the top of this track is now green, and you should be able to watch it as if it were a video. Okay, so yeah, that looks good. Let's see if it lines up with the music. Perfect. Excellent. I've selected the wrong sequence. Okay, so another thing, this is white smoke. I want it green. I did the painting time in green. Painting time, I should say. It's in green. We're doing green. We want it to look green. So just like before, we can take this whole RGB and drop that on top of here. And adjusting the color balance, we're going to get rid of the blue track. We're going to get rid of the red track. Perfect. We have green smoke. So once again, we're going to render into out. Shouldn't take but a second. There it goes. Perfect. Got a nice little green segment. And the reason I want to do that there is because, like, all of this leading up to that point, like I get out the paint, I show the colors, I put it on the palette, I pull out the fluid retarder, which is important to work on it, I show mixing it up, I show that I'm base coating the model, but now I've got all this extra footage that I want to get through. For the project, it needs to be there, it needs to be done, I want to get it out. So I have all this track here, all this work. And if I drop this down, let's shift this up to track 4 so I can keep track of what I'm doing here. Let's shift these up into track 2, and we're going to magnet it on the end here. Alright, so if we're listening to the music and watching this, it doesn't line up. There's a beat going. Thump, 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 thump. I want this all to line up with that, to go with that. And to do that, what we want to do is, well, drag this over here. I'm going to go back to my project, and I'm going to create a new item sequence. I'm going to call this sequence, I don't know, sped clips 1. Sped clips 1. There we go. Pow. I can go back into my demo space sequence. I can grab all these, and I'm going to Control C for copy. I'm going to go back over to sped clips, and I'm going to drop those in. Perfect. Now, what that has done is effectively put these clips into a grouping that will allow them to function as if they were a single video. And that's important because now, for one, I'm going to Control S and save this project just in case I screw up really bad. We're going to delete all these instances from the main sequence. They are now gone. But if we go back to sped clips, I now have this sequence called sped clips 1 in the project panel, and I can go back into my demo space and I can just drop sped clips 1 in as if that's what I was doing. Again, we don't need the audio. Get rid of that. Okay, I now have this sped clips 1 functioning as a singular clip. So we're going to go to clip, we're going to go to speed duration, and we're going to speed this thing up to where those hits work. And this definitely took a little tinkering to get to. So I'm going to dip over to the original panel and see if the double speed is the same. So it looks like I sped it to 177.5%. Just in the interest of brevity here, is that the term? We're going to make sure this is selected. We're going to go up to the clip menu and we're going to do speed duration, and we're going to call it 177.5. And I'm pretty sure with some experimentation that made this line up with the music. So let's give it a listen. It's not rendering great, so we may need to do another in and out render. In, out. We're going to go sequence. We're going to render into out. This will take a little longer, maybe. Yeah, a little longer than the last time at 670 frames. So just a few seconds. I hope this illustrates like what can really be done with all these effects, and you layer them all on top of each other, and all of a sudden you get some stuff that works really well. All right, yeah, it looks like the sequence changed with the beat of the song. Much better. Looks great. Way digestible. We're doing the same thing now. So we're gonna speed test 2. Oh, I'm in the wrong project. Yeah, project effects demo. All right, so same deal. We need to make a new item, a new sequence. We want to do another sped clips. So we'll do sped clips 2. There we go. Go back to demo space, and sped clips 2 gets all of these as per my project that I was working on earlier. Really, this is all something that I was just working on recently, and I want to give an idea of what went into it. So it's easier to show what's going on as opposed to like fumbling through it like I did. This took much longer when I was working on it the first time, obviously, but here this it allows me to show what went into it in a expeditious fashion. All right, so we now have our sped clips 2 sequence. We can go back into our demo space sequence and we can eliminate those clips. Wow, because now they live in sped clips 2. We can go back into demo space. We can drop the sped clips sequence at the end of that and delete this little thing here. And let me cross-reference my original sequence again. This one is 181% speed. So we'll do that. We'll click sped clips 2. We'll go to clip. We'll go to speed duration. We'll call it 182. Done. All right. So same deal. We're going to get to the start of this clip. We're going to drop an in. And we're going to go to the end of that clip. We're going to drop an out. We're going to sequence, render into out. This will let us view it in real time and ensure that our music is lined up perfectly. And of course, like if it's not, it's super simple matter to just adjust that number. Adjust it by 0.5 increments, adjust it by 0.1% if you got to. You can really dial it in. But yeah, this shouldn't take but a second. We're almost there. Last few frames, and give it a watch and a listen. It seems like it's working all right. You know, it might be a few frames off, but it seems to be working. All right, so pretty sure there was one more effect I wanted to include here. I'm not sure where it lives. Let's go back here. It was... Okay, I see it. Alright, so last effect I wanted to add. There's this little bit on the music where like the guitar starts going. Yeah. Alright, so we're going to do one more sequence. I'm going to do one more sequence. Actually, I guess I'll dump in the item here so we can line it up and then create the sequence. So I have these spots in the music where the music starts going. If I can figure it out. Right there. So what we want to do is drop in this happy little hot dog, get rid of the audio track because we don't need it, slap it here. We'll go effects controls. We're going to get this little doggy in the right spot. We're going to rotate it to where I want it. Basically, what I want is this dog to come on in the corners to go with the music. I apologize if that barking is going on right as I'm working with the dog. My neighbor has a really obnoxious doggy, which is unfortunate. Anyhow, not to ramble. I actually want the dog to kind of come on the screen. So let's go back 3 frames. We're going to start with position, scale, and rotation. And we're going to go forward to 3 frames where that music hit happens and then drop some more keyframes. I want the dog to start here and then we'll go back to the first one. Zoom out so I can see what I'm doing. And then we're going to grab this dog and rotate it or push it off the screen that way and also rotate it a bit that way. So that way it leans onto the frame. Okay, we also want to get rid of that green background. So we're going to use, I think this one's most appropriate with an ultra key. So I'm going to search for ultra, going to drop it on the happy dog green screen, going to select key color, PAL, get rid of the green, and zoom in 100% so I can get a good look at the dog. It seems all right. Seems fine to me. Yeah, looks good enough. It works. It's a nice clean dealio. And yeah. All right, so music does the little guitar bit. And it needs to, right there, we're going to take it and we're going to lean it back off. So put another keyframe, 1, 2, 3, go forward, 1, 2, 3, drop these on. And then I just want to copy the values from before. So we'll grab the position and rotation. We're going to, it won't let me do that. Okay. Let me just grab the numbers raw. There we go. Grab that, Control C, go to the end, click it here, Control V, go back, double click here, Control C, back here. I don't know why it's not working. There we go. Put it in, come back, grab the rotation. stick it back there. All right, so now what we end up with is this animated keyframed dog that comes in with the music. Perfect. All right. So back to the project panel. We're going to right click. We're going to go to new item. We're going to call a new sequence, and it's going to be called dog insert. There we go. Go back to demo space, and now we have this edited little clip. We're going to Control C. We're going to go to our dog insert, and we're going to Control V, put that in. We now have this fun little doggy that is not showing up. Okay, I'm not sure what's going wrong here. Oh, I see what's going on. I'm too far zoomed in. I'm just dumb. That's what's going on here. All right, so now we got this dog. We got all the effects lined up on the dog. And the reason we wanted to make it its own sequence is because I want to put that in there and get the same animation and have this dog come in the four corners as the music is playing. So, you know, again, just my thought process here. We're going to grab dog overlay. And we're going to put dog overlay here. And then I'm not sure why it increased the length of the clip. Not really sure why, but it's no matter. Let's go back to demo space. Let's hide the visibility of Happy Hot Dog and ensure this still works. And what we need to do for dog overlay, I guess dog overlay needs a new key. So we're going to do color key and drop it on the dog overlay. Why is it? Yeah, okay. Here we go. Effect controls, pow, grab this. Same deal. We're going to do a little bit less tolerance this time. Feather it out by a bit. All right. Crisis averted. Got this fun little doggy. And we can get rid of the original Happy Hot Dog green screen clip. All right. Oh, I need to re-visualize that. Perfect. All right, so from here, what we want to do is do this 4 times in the corners. I'm looking for the spot in the waveform where the hit happens on the music. It looks like it's right here. Maybe right here. Yeah, it's right there. So we're going to go back 1, 2, 3 frames. We're going to go into effects demo. We're going to grab the dog insert. We're going to slap it down right there. Pow. And now this one needs a new effect, so we're going to add a flip, and I want it to go counterclockwise, so we're going to do a horizontal flip first. Wait a second. Dog insert, dog overlay. Why do I have 2? Not sure why it changed the name of that. Very confusing. Sometimes Premiere does some weird stuff that, oh, I see. I'm in the wrong project panel. That's what's happened here. Oops. Let's go back. Dog insert, dog overlay. They're both here. Got you. The issue here is I have too many things open and I'm not paying attention to what I'm doing. So this should have been the dog insert and not the dog overlay to begin with. Going to remove dog overlay. That actually explains why I had to add the keys. Okay, so y'all just saw a screw up live. A reminder to always be sure where you're clicking with the on your program. Anyhow, perfect. And then we're going to find our next hit, which is right here. We're going to go back 1, 2, 3 frames. We're going to drop in the dog insert. Bam. We're going to effects. We're going to horizontal flip this. And then to make this easy, we can count the frames between these two clips. So I'll start right here, and I'm going to use the left key to go back. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 frames. Yeah. And then that'll let me go to the end of this and go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Easy mode. Dog insert goes back in. Ensure you drop it in a track that doesn't overwrite your music. This one's going to get a horizontal flip and a vertical flip. We're going to go to the end of it, and we're going to go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. And we'll drop in the last dog insert right here, ensuring that we're not overwriting. And effects is just a vertical flip. We now should have the music playing with the dog coming in. Perfect. All right, okay, so from here what I'm going to do is I'm going to render this whole sequence. I'm going to append it to the end of this segment here, and we're going to hit play and watch the whole thing. I want to thank y'all for your time, and if you ever want to check out like Premiere work and see what's going into it, I do occasionally live stream on my channel, Country Fried Minis. So just a little self-promotion plug there, but thank you for your time, and you should be seeing the finished video about right now.